Because of one of the recent patches, the title for best firebow build went to the sorceress. However, I wanted to see if the character who actually specializes in firebow skills could match up, and in testing the concept out, I was very happily surprised. In today's video, I'm going to go over the build for the Fire Bowazon that constantly procs fire skills, giving the Mosaic Sin a run for her money for having your graphics card hate this build's visual spectacle. She just wants smoke with everyone, and she creates a lot of it. I'm going to go over the attributes, the skill tree, the gear for my character and my mercenary, and afterwards I'm going to show you guys some gameplay so you could see this build in action. But do keep in mind that when it comes to this build, there are different ways you can be able to gear the character depending on your needs, whether you're trying to go for maximum DPS, you're trying to do a magifying character, or a hybrid of the two. Just keep in mind when it comes to looking at the gear choices that I'm going to be choosing, that you can choose alternative gear depending on the demand that you have for your build. Before we actually get into the build, the comment shout out for this video is going to be AMB221989, who says this is why this game is so much better than every other Diablo game. I couldn't agree more. No matter how far down into the series that they end up going, past D4, into D5 and beyond, there are still going to be people playing this game because it's such a timeless classic. Now let's go ahead and get into the video. For the attributes, she has enough strength to be able to equip the gear, enough dexterity once fully buffed up to have nearly 10,000 attack rating, and the remaining points go into vitality. For the skill trees, there's nothing invested in the javelin and spear skill tree. Moving on to the bow and crossbow skill tree, I maxed fire arrow, exploding arrow, and immolation arrow, as immolation arrow is going to be the primary skill fired first and is synergized by fire arrow and exploding arrow. But exploding arrow fires much faster, so you will not go wrong with using either of them primarily. Lastly, for the passive and magic skill tree, I ended up just putting 1 point into all of the skills, leading to Pierce, with Pierce having 2 points to add with an item that I'll go over shortly, making her have a combined 98% chance to Pierce, then 1 point leading to Valkyrie. I left the remaining 36 skill points out because, as she is set up now, she already plays great, and I'm sure that there's a lot watching this video that don't have a level 99 Amazon to invest all the points into yet. But, once you have all the points, you can invest them where you see fit, such as adding to Valkyrie and making her both incredibly tanky and hard-hitting. Check out my guide on the Valkyrie skill to learn more about that. You can add more into Penetrate for the attack rating and to shift points out of Dexterity, or whatever you see fit. The possibilities would be endless for what you would want to prioritize with this build. For the gear, do keep in mind that this is a hero edited character. All the items that you see here are not single self found on single player offline, nor do I play online to be able to have someone assist me with helping me get these items to then showcase in this video. I wanted to put this build together myself to be able to show if it would be worth the time and the resources needed to be able to make it effective, in case anyone would be curious to be able to build this out for themselves, and also just for the spectacle of the concept itself. The helm is Flickering Flame for the Resist Fire aura to offset the negative resistance penalty on the Thunder Charm that I'll be using, but it also has plus to fire skills, negative enemy fire resistance, and mana. The amulet is High Lord's Wrath for the plus to skills, increased attack speed, deadly strike based on character level, and lightning resistance. The body armor is the Dragon Rune Word for the chance to cast Hydra on striking, Holy Fire aura that adds damage to the arrows as well as does pulse damage, as well as a small boost to attributes, strength based on character level, increased mana, and max lightning resistance. Her bow is the Hand of Justice bow for the Holy Fire aura that will stack with the Holy Fire on her dragon armor, but it also has plus to bow and crossbow skills because of the matriarchal bow base, increased attack speed, percent enhanced damage, ignore target's defense, life leech, negative enemy fire resistance, deadly strike, blinds target, and freezes target. The boots are Silk Weave for the faster run walk and the plus to mana after each kill. The first ring is a BK ring for the plus to skills, life based on character level, and life leech. As an alternative, you can use the Stone of Jordan as it adds a bit more mana. However, when testing, I still eventually ran into the same mana issues. It just took maybe a handful more shots to be able to do so. Both of them have plus to skills, so you're not going to go wrong either way. The belt is Razor Tail for piercing and dexterity. The second ring is Raven Frost for the attack rating, dexterity, mana, and cannot be frozen. The gloves are Laying of Hands for the IAS and the fire resistance. On switch, she has the staple CTA and spirit combo to be able to increase mine and my mercenary survivability. In the inventory is the cube, both tomes, torch, Annie. The grand charms are all bow and crossbow skillers with life, with the last one being the Flame Rift Thunder Charm to ensure that nothing we fight is going to be fire immune. And the small charms are all combinations of faster run walk and resistances. For the additional stats, she has 12% life leech, 73% increased attack speed, 51% faster run walk, hit blinds target, ignore target's defense, 57% deadly strike, 33% chance of pierce to combine with the 65% from the pierce skill, helping to get 98% chance of pierce. And lastly, negative 33% to enemy fire resistance. For the mercenary, he is the Act 2 Blessed Aim Mercenary to boost attack rating, and he's also using Indara's Visage socketed with the Ral Rune, Fortitude for the body armor, and Infinity for the Conviction aura to help her fire damage go even further. Now that we've discussed the attributes, the skill trees, the gear for my character and my mercenary, let's go ahead and check out this build in action to see how well it actually plays out. With the gameplay, for anyone who'd be curious as to which player settings I'm using for my build guides, the past, presently on screen, and in the future, down in the bottom left corner is what the example gameplay being shown is currently at. The way I set this build up is not only to have a good amount of damage and survivability, but for the fireworks that you'd see throughout the screen. Hydra spawning, the ground becoming on fire from Immolation Arrow, any explosions from Explosion Arrow, Firestorm proccing constantly, and all on top of the pulse damage from the combined Holy Fire auras from her Dragon Armor and Hand of Justice bow. Her greatest strength is fighting large groups of enemies to truly take advantage of her AoE from the Immolation Arrow, as well as the explosive arrow damage once the arrows pierce through monsters. The Immolation Arrows will leave the ground on fire where the monsters are that are hit by the arrows. Then if piercing through the next, will continue to leave patches of fire every time that an enemy is hit. And the explosive arrows will not only affect the monsters that are hit directly, but as well as all of the monsters that are within close proximity. And each time that an arrow pierces and hits another one, the damage process repeats, all of which can quickly add up to a lot of damage. Something to consider and to learn from my mistake, because I didn't show it in the video, is to make sure in your belt you have at least one row of mana potions, as this build is quite mana hungry. Thankfully I had a lot of full rejuve potions, so it wasn't a big deal. But for everyone else, don't waste what isn't necessary. So make sure that you have at least one row of mana potions on your belt. In the Chaos Sanctuary, she hardly had any issues to deal with. Even Desace and his minions were no trouble at all. And she handled Diablo quite easily. Stony Tombs is an amazing area to farm with her. Just 1 or 2 hits and everything dies, making this level 85 area one of the better places to use with this build, especially if your map has the entrance to the Stony Tomb very close to town. Now, I do know that this build unfortunately still doesn't compare when it comes to damage to the Demon Machine Sorceress build guide that I made before, making the Fireball build that does the most damage still not belong to the class that actually has an entire skill tree dedicated to bow skills. However, for what she can do as far as damage, and how well she handles nearly all areas of the game, she is both quite a tank, and also hopefully from watching this video, a build for you to consider for a fun Fire Bowazon setup. And that's going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and were able to see if this build would be something that you would be interested in going into the future, and if anything, at least just enjoyed the video. If you like this kind of content and want to see more, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification to be notified whenever a new video comes out.
Come on. Come on. Come on, man. There you are. There you are.
And if you like this video, please let me know by leaving a like. It really is appreciated to be able to help my channel to grow. And if you want to see more of my Diablo 2 Resurrected content, make sure to click the card in the corner up above to check out my Diablo 2 Resurrected playlist with a lot of videos already in it, with a lot more coming in the very near future. Other than that, I hope you guys are staying safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.